Thank you, Chloe. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to our sharing session on the doctoral programs offered in the Policy, Curriculum and Leadership Department at NIE. 中国的学生，你们好。欢迎参加我们的博士项目线上分享会。我们是新加坡国立教育学院教育政策课程与领导部门的博士项目负责人。I'm Dr. Chang Wen-Chia, and I'm the program leader of the PhD program. Also here with me today are EDD program leaders, Associate Professor Dr. Heng Tang, and Dr. Sandra Wu. In this session, we will briefly present the mission and vision of the Policy, Curriculum, and Leadership Department and our faculty members' research expertise. Next, we will provide an overview of the PhD program and EDD program, and you will also have the chance to hear our students sharing their experience. We will then discuss the differences between the two programs and offer tips for preparing a strong application before opening the session for audience questions.
Hi, Wen-Chia.
Yes.
I'm having trouble seeing your screen right now of the slides. Can the rest of you see the slides?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we can.
We can see.
You can see. Okay, so it's my side then. Okay, don't worry then.
No problem. Thanks for letting me know. Okay, let me move on to the next slide. So in the Policy, Curriculum, and Leadership Department, our faculty's work provides innovative and critical insights that advance knowledge and make professional impact in the areas of educational policy, curriculum studies, and educational leadership. Our faculty members teach, conduct impactful research, and engage and consult a wide range of stakeholders with a commitment to improving the conditions of our lives, both in Singapore and around the world. The Policy, Curriculum, and Leadership Department is a vibrant and collaborative community where our faculty members work closely with each other and with our students. To learn more about our faculty members' research areas, the audience can actually scan the QR code. So I have just briefly talk about the focus of the department. Next, I will talk about some of the key features of the PhD program. Our PhD program prepares researchers and scholars who aspire to develop a meaningful and sustainable career in higher education or research institutions. Faculty members in the PhD program offer research areas such as education policy, comparative education studies, contemporary issues in curriculum design, implementation, and evaluation, philosophy of education, teaching and teacher learning, and educational leadership. The program duration is a maximum of 5 years for both full-time and part-time students. The program requirements include two major components. First one is the coursework. PhD students are required to complete 4 graduate level, either master or PhD courses with a cumulative GPA of 3.5 or above, plus other short training courses on communication, presentation, small group teaching, and graduate English. In the PhD program, we do not specify the courses that students must take. The topics of the courses depend on the discussion and negotiation between the supervisor and supervisee, and must take into consideration how the coursework supports the students to develop his or her research proposal, which is related to the second component, PhD thesis. To move towards the completion of the PhD thesis, while students are completing their coursework, they also need to prepare their research proposal. Depending on the full-time or part-time status, students must submit their proposal in either 18 or 24 months and be ready to present their research proposal in what we call confirmation seminar. Once the students pass the confirmation and become PhD candidates, they will carry out their research proposal, complete the thesis study, and have an oral defense altogether within 5 years. The graphs below illustrates the general timeline of the two major components for full-time and part-time students. So keeping the nature and requirements of the PhD program in mind, I want to share with you the characteristics of our PhD students, which are also the characteristics that we look for in the PhD applicants. First, our PhD students demonstrate a keen discernment, critical reflexivity, and curiosities about policies, practices, rules, and norms or discourses occurring in society and institutions such as schools. Our PhD students often come with several years of professional experiences. In their professional setting, they observe certain ways of doing, policies, rules, and norms, certain ways of existing or entrenched ways of doing things, such as teaching, learning, leading, evaluating, and assessing. And through their observations and critical sort of questions, they perhaps feel dissatisfied and they examine, they have questions about the existing ways of doing. So they are interested in looking into what are some of the theoretical perspectives, literature, or empirical evidence out there that can help them to broaden and deepen their ways of thinking and doing. They are also interested in understanding the why and how underlying the typical ways that we teach, learn, lead, evaluate, and assess, with the goal of contributing to knowledge construction. So that's the first key characteristic that we have in our PhD students and we look for in our applicants. The second characteristic is that our PhD students need to have a strong interest and capacity to work with multiple social and educational theories, philosophies. They are interested in not just the theories, but also the theories, the implications of a theory for practices and vice versa. The third characteristic is very much related to the first characteristic. Our PhD students often have a clear sense of why they want to pursue a PhD beyond practical and instrumental aim. They often, because of their own personal and professional experiences, they often have a certain particular issues or topic they feel deeply and feel very passionate about. They want to know, they want to examine, they want to make impact. So finally, our PhD students are well-versed in their research methodologies, quantitative, qualitative, and/or mixed methods. And they must be familiar with scholarly conversation that is relevant to their proposed thesis topic or the research proposal that some of you are interested in put it in as part of your application. This is particularly important for PhD students, given that students often have a very short runway before they need to present their research proposal. So PhD students, and once they are admitted into the program, they have a very short time to prepare for their research proposal. Once they are enrolled in the program, they must hit the ground and run immediately. So these are some of the key features of the PhD programs and what we observe in our PhD students. So next, I would like to, so next we have experience sharing from one of our PhD alumni, Dr. Eng Ying. She cannot be with us today, so I'm going to share her recording. And let's see if I can make this work.
Hi, I'm Ying. I completed my PhD in education from NIE in 2022 while working full-time as a senior teacher in an independent school in Singapore. Now, I'm going to tell you a little about how I got started on a PhD program. In 2013, the school I was working at stepped into a global learning alliance to engage in cross-cultural research on what world-class 21st century education looks like in high-performing systems like the USA and Finland. By 2014, the research had delivered some clear directions and it was time to build. That's when I was tasked with leading a team to translate those high-level global insights into a new curriculum for the school. Our goal was to build a curriculum that looked past the chasing of grades and high test scores to create global mandarins, students who possess critical thinking, global perspectives, and deep-rooted values in a shifting world. My team was made up of 12 key personnel across departments within the school. Together, we have decades of combined teaching experience. But experience alone was not enough when it comes to translating complex global and national discourses into pedagogical models. It required a critical depth that experience alone couldn't provide. I needed a new lens. With the support of my management and colleagues, I decided to bridge the gap by enrolling in a PhD program. I will now tell you about my experience of the program in my next slide.
Okay. So unfortunately, I have to go out.
We hear it 1,000 times, but it's true. A program is only as good as the staff behind it. When I started, I had big questions about curriculum and pedagogy, as well as research. I also found myself under the tutelage of a team that didn't just teach. They modeled a rare blend of strategic thinking and intellectual rigor. Because of that depth, my thinking was challenged and then sharpened. I gained a solid grounding in educational theories. More importantly, the team helped me build on that foundation to see that theory is not a static rulebook. It evolves the moment it hits the real world of multiple cultural contexts. All these equipped me to leverage on the strengths and insights of external partners like Teachers College, Columbia University, and Westport schools in the USA to steer my school's reconceptualization of a 21st century curriculum framework. I stopped seeing research as some pedantic ivory tower exercise. Instead, I saw it for what it truly is, a rigorous, evolving discipline that is absolutely essential if we want to understand the complexities of educational policy, objectives, and trajectories. All this comes down to mentorship. My supervisor and the faculty didn't just give me feedback. They gave me steadfast guidance. They helped me connect high-level academic inquiry to real-world applications in ways I could never have done on my own. Significantly, they treated me with a level of generosity and respect that moved me. They didn't just motivate me to do better as a researcher. They inspired me to model these same values for my own students. I'm now a research fellow, still asking questions about the future of what and how we teach. To all those contemplating the PhD program, hesitate no more. Come join us at NIE on this exciting journey.
Okay, so Dr. Eng Wei-Ying, she graduated in 2022, and since graduation, she has been teaching several undergraduate courses in our department, and she is currently a senior research fellow in a research project funded by Singapore's Ministry of Education. So next, we'll turn to our EDD program and have Dr. Sandra Wu share the features of EDD program.
Thank you, Dr. Chang. Welcome everyone to our sharing session. And today I'll be sharing with you our Doctor in Education program. We have two specializations, curriculum and teaching, as well as educational leadership and change. So here with us, we have Associate Professor Heng. She's actually overseeing the curriculum and teaching specialization. Next, please. Thank you. Yeah. So this is an overview of the EDD program for both full-time and part-time students. So as mentioned, there are two specializations under our department. And EDD students are to take 3 core courses as well as 2 specialization courses as part of their coursework, followed by research and their dissertation. So the maximum candidature for both full-time and part-time students is 5 years. So as you can see from the diagram below, at the start of the EDD journey, the first year students will have to complete their coursework, and they will be guided by their supervisor. So they need to come up with a study plan to plot out how they're going to complete their coursework. And EDD is a very structured program whereby there's a lot of guidance and structures to go with. So you can see for full-time students, they are to complete 6 courses within 1 year. Conversely, part-time students can complete the 6 courses within the first 1.5 years. And the subsequent time remaining will then be for conducting of research. So before they can conduct their research, they need to work with their supervisors on their research proposal, after which they will put up their proposal for a seminar to be examined by reviewers. So after they have gone through that process and passed the seminar, they can then apply for IRB, which is research ethics, to proceed to conduct their research. Yeah. So then for the subsequent time that they will conduct research, collect data, analyze, generate findings, write their dissertation. So this entire process will take up to a maximum of 5 years or lesser, but generally we do not exceed the 5-year mark. Next, please. Yeah. So this is an overview of the kind of courses that you'll be taking. So there'll be courses on literature review and research methods like quantitative methods and qualitative methods. So for the specialization area of curriculum and teaching, you have the inquiry into curriculum and teaching as well as advanced studies on assessment and learning. Whereas for the educational leadership and change, we will look at theories as well as practices in leadership and management as well as ethics. So these are the courses that EDD students will need to take. Next, please. Yeah. So now we will invite Dr. Choi to share her EDD experience with us. Over to you.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Jian Choi, and yes, I am a currently primary school teacher in South Korea and also an EDD student at NIE. I started my doctorate in 2021 and will graduate this year. So I'm happy to share my experience with you. Next slide, please. So my professional background was a primary school teacher. As a primary school teacher, I have always been interested in education, particularly multicultural education, diversity. So I wanted to deepen my understanding of this area and learn how to conduct the proper good research. So at the right point of my time, I had the opportunity to live in the Singapore and decide to pursue my doctorate at NIE. So one of the key reasons why I choose NIE was its faculty. So when I reviewed the faculty members and their research areas in the NIE website, I realized that I could learn a lot about curriculum, diversity, and equity from them. So in fact, the faculty expertise was one of the most important factors that influenced my decision to start my doctorate at NIE. So during this NIE program, I was a chance to experience a lot of like courses and program in the school. Next slide, please. So there are many valuable courses offered at NIE. So among them, I found that the research-related courses were especially meaningful and helpful for me. Dr. Wu just say it as a core courses, right? Yeah, core courses. So such as like research method 1, 2, literature review courses is really meaningful. So these classes taught me skills that cannot simply be learned by other journal articles or the YouTube video. So they helped me learn how to read, analyze, and critically evaluate academic research. So which broadened my perspective on research overall. So in addition to the coursework, the writing consultation program from GPL was also extremely helpful. The consultant provided a valuable feedback on my like grammar, logic, and flow. So their support like greatly improved the quality of my writing throughout this program. And next slide, please. So after graduating my doctor, so I have more opportunities on my career and perspective. So currently I'm working as a primary school teacher because of compulsory service obligation with the government. Apart from my teaching role, I am now eligible to apply for research-related positions or projects. Actually, I get a chance to invite to participate many research from other researchers. So recently, I was offered by one of the national institute to participate the research in a project. So through this like experience, like although I'm still exploring my future, but I can pursue my careers in research opportunities, such as working as a research institute or working for the Ministry of Education, so relating to the policy and my expertise. So yeah, thank you for listening my experience. And my email address is in my last slide. So if you have any question, yes, please ask me and share. Thank you.
Sorry, June. I think that the email address was actually cut out from the last slide.
Yeah, no,
But never
worry.
mind. For everyone who have questions for June later, please feel free to raise your questions later when we have the Q&A. And as for me, I am Dr. Heng Tang. Right now, I'm going to talk with all of you about the differences between the PhD and the EDD program. Next slide, thank you. So the PhD program involves a more theoretical and a more academic focus, and requires a deeper grasp and review of the associated literature. And its research output typically is expected to respond to and contribute to central issues in academia or to advance theoretical knowledge. As for the EDD, it is a coursework-intensive doctorate program, and the course supports professional leaders to critically reflect and examine the professional knowledge in their respective fields of education, and eventually to contribute to the scholarship of either the educational professional practice to improving real-world educational practice. Secondly, in terms of completion goal, The PhD prepares one for working in the academy, in higher education, or maybe in research think tanks, or for those who have a very strong interest in research. As for the EDD, it is more suited for one who wants to work in the industry or in educational institutions that they are already in, or if they want to focus more on practice or focusing on the applied aspects of research. So one recommendation we have as a department is that we recommend all applicants, potential applicants, to think through where you want to land after the completion of your doctorate. And to do that, that would mean, having a chat with people in the institutions or in the places that you think you want to work in, and to check if the places that you would like to work in upon graduation, do they require a PhD or an EDD? Because different places have different kinds of expectations. So this is something we really recommend all our applicants to think through. Think about that end process. Don't just think about trying to get through into the application or the doctorate program, but think about where you want to be at the end of your doctorate and whether the places that you want to be requires a PhD or an EDD. Now, in terms of the course structure, as you have seen from the sharing by Dr. Wu and Dr. Chang earlier, the PhD program is lighter on coursework. You have more choices. There are 4 graduate level coursework of your choice and 2 courses on small group teaching and grad English to prepare you for teaching in higher education. Candidates may not need to have had extensive professional experience. On the other hand, the EDD is heavier on coursework, right? And on the mandatory courses. So as Dr. Wu shared earlier, there are 3 core courses on research methods and 2 courses on content specialization. And then there's also 1 course on academic reading and writing. Our candidates for EDD, they are required to have at least 4 years of professional experience so that they can draw upon the experiences in terms of their research and thinking through their research. Now, in terms of intakes, for the PhD program, there are 2 intakes per year, one in January and one in August. As for the EDD program, there is only 1 intake per year, and the intake will be in January every year. As for scholarships, for PhD program, the pool is, most candidates will apply to the central pool of NTU or NIE scholarships, and those are open to local and international students. For the EDD program, there is the Tan Pui Kee Scholarship. The Tan Pui Kee Scholarship is open to Singapore citizens and permanent residents. The Henry David Hofstadt's Early Childhood Scholarship is applicable only to those who are applying for early childhood program. So maybe not so much in our department then, yeah? All right, next slide, please. Thank you. So I'm going to be sharing next about some tips for preparing for a strong application for both the PhD and the EDD programs. So in terms of application tips, the first and most very important one, okay, not most, but very important, is to have a well-prepared research proposal. This research proposal is very critical because it is that window to establishing and signaling to your potential supervisor as well as to the interview committee your suitability for pursuing a doctorate, as well as the alignment and the fit in terms of the area of interest that you have, as well as the area of expertise that a potential supervisor has. So our recommendation is really think through and spend time working and thinking through this research proposal, because this research proposal will showcase who we think the candidate is and how good that candidate is and how clear the candidate is in terms of what he or she intends to study. Now, the second thing is to have to nominate a potential supervisor. Currently, all PhD and EDD applications request that you actually write down a potential supervisor in the application form. And they would also require you to furnish some evidence to show that you have been in communication with this potential supervisor and that this supervisor is interested and okay with his or her name being put down. So our recommendation to you then is to identify faculty members whose research expertise match your research interests. You see a QR code on the PowerPoint slide right now. If you scan that, that will bring you to our list of PCL faculty, and it also lists their faculty expertise. At the same time, I believe that Dr. Sandra Wu has also posted the link to PCL faculty in the chat box. So you can open up that link, right? So if and when you reach out to potential faculty members to have a discussion with them, I would say maybe avoid sending a generic email. Instead, if your email is more customized to the professor's area of research, there's a higher chance of the professor responding to you. Spend some time reading through the various faculty members, what kind of work do they do, and show why your research or your research interest is aligned to that professor's. All right, and then you can consider contacting them by email to start that conversation. The next suggestion we have is to think about the purpose of why you want to pursue a doctorate. Frequently, we have applicants who come in and they're studying a doctorate because they don't know what else to do. They think that, it's very natural. I've done my BA, I've done my MA, so I might as well just do my doctorate. Either they think it's natural or they feel like, I don't know what else I should do. Maybe I'll just go and study for more because I want to put off the idea of thinking about what I want to do. So what we really recommend is for you to think about why you want to pursue a doctorate, because a doctorate actually requires a substantial investment of time and money. It's at least, it's 3 to 5 years of your life where you'll be living and eating and breathing these ideas in these communities and so on and so forth. So think through why you want to do the doctorate. Talk to current and graduated doctoral students, talk about their experiences, talk about what they wish they had done or not do, talk about where they found jobs after that and how, what they should be thinking of doing during even the doctoral journey themselves. And as I had mentioned earlier as well, really spend some time researching on post-completion job opportunities, because thinking through the job opportunities is important. I'm going to be honest here, NTU, NIE is an institution which tries to diversify its hiring. So sometimes we have students coming in and they think that they want to work at NIE after graduation. But the truth is that NTU and NIE try not to hire back its own graduates because they do not want to breed academic insularity. In many Tier 1 research institutions around the world, if you're looking at Columbia University, Harvard, University of British Columbia, Oxford, and so on and so forth, many universities do not hire back their own graduates right away. Instead, they always encourage the graduates to go away for several years on a postdoc or work in another institution before coming back. And the reason for doing that is because they want to have more diversity in ways of thinking. So please don't assume that if you take a doctorate in NIE, you can be hired immediately upon graduation. That's the reason why we again encourage all applicants to think through and research on your post-completion job opportunities so that you can be clear why you're doing this doctorate and also whether you want to do a PhD or an EDD. Next, We recommend that you start as soon as possible if you have not done so. Wen-Chia, yes, start as soon as possible if you have not done so, because it does take quite some time to go through this process of reaching out to potential supervisors. If one supervisor say no, you will have then to reach out to another supervisor, and so on and so forth. And also you need time to plan and write your research proposal if you want to write a strong research proposal. So if you are planning to submit applications for June, then you would want to start as soon as possible, if not today. Finally, our recommendation is also that having some work experience can be helpful, regardless of whether you are doing an EDD or a PhD program. I understand that we mentioned that for EDD program, you need at least 4 years of experience, and PhD may not require that. But from our experiences, we noticed that for even PhD students, the ones who have had some work experience tend to have a more positive PhD experience, because they can see the value of their research and where they want to add to eventually, beyond just the abstract and the theoretical. So think about that. Having some work experience can really be helpful. And with that, thank you very much for your interest. Next slide. In the next slide, you can see that our application periods are as follows. For the EDD period, the deadline is 11th of June, and for the PhD and Masters by Research, it is 25th of June. So thank you very much for being with us today and for expressing your interest, and we will engage you in the Q&A now. Thank you.